Hey now, we are getting over, and I am the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, here to lead you through these hard times. With a bonus WWE edition of your favorite professional wrestling podcast. That's right, Getting Over is back once again, and we are here to break down everything we have not already covered from the world of WWE this week. For the first time perhaps ever in the history of this podcast, we ran through our WWE episode on Tuesday, got past a rare triple main event, looked at each other and said, yeah, this show is going too long. We're going to have to stop cold and come up with a second episode this week. So guess what? That is exactly what we did. You already heard those three major main event topics covering CM Punk, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, going through the list here. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, Chelsea Green, Rhea Ripley, and everything that's happening with the SmackDown women's division. You heard all of that in a very detailed episode on Tuesday. Silver King and Vintage Chris Vanini also hit you up with some questions that were answered in the last word, a return of that segment for the first time probably in all of 2026. We put that to bed, but we still have the good, the bad, and the ugly, breaking down everything else that happened in WWE this week ahead, and we will be getting to that momentarily. Before we do, allow Silver King off the top to remind you that the Getting Over Wrestling podcast
is all about Defy.
So please, folks,
stop being marks for yourselves and go back to being a mark for me.
Go back to being marks for the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, Vintage, Chris Vanini, and the Getting Over Wrestling podcast in totality. Head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the program, just like we did on Tuesday and just like we did the week prior. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. You will get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show. On YouTube, you can listen to the show. You can watch full-length video interviews. You hit the link in our profile. You can join our free Slack channel. You can subscribe to the podcast. Shop with WWE Shop. We get a little bit of a kickback and so much more. Make sure you follow us on social media at Getting Overcast. And while I normally promote this later in the show, I'm going to do it off the top. That way we can just run through the good, the bad, and the ugly in totality. And that is a reminder that here at Getting Over,
I happen to love the number 5.
And I hope you do as well, because for $5 a month, $50 for the entire year, you can become an official Getting Overhead. Just visit buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Sign up. You will get bonus audio, the fastest 5 minutes in professional wrestling, instant reactions whenever a major television show concludes with some huge moment. You will also get exclusive news, analysis, editorial posts every week. We've been posting them regularly on Fridays and Saturdays. You're going to want that information. It's not just new, fresh information from Getting Over. It's also correcting a lot of erroneous reports that you've read throughout the week elsewhere. Make sure you sign up, support the show, allow us to continue pumping performance-enhancing audio into your ear holes. Get it all at buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Vintage, welcome back to the show. You know, we're 925 episodes into this Getting Over Wrestling podcast. I cannot remember another time that we had so much to say in the main event of a WWE episode that we literally stopped recording and said, you know what? We don't have the time to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. So as far as I know, and maybe you have a different memory, this is a first here on Getting Over.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes would do it for pay-per-view previews and stuff like that, but yeah, and it's not like that much newsy stuff happened, but it was like just a lot of philosophical stuff I thought we got into on the last show. Kind of took up some time.
Yeah, there's occasions where we get into the show and we're like, hey, let's try not to go back and forth too much because we know we have so much to cover. But yesterday it was just like conversation flowing, and you know what? That's the entire point of us having this medium rather than writing columns or doing anything like that about professional wrestling. Before we get into the WWE of it all, and again, a reminder for everyone listening, if you missed the first half of our week in WWE breakdown, make sure you listen to Tuesday's episode where we covered 3 major main event topics. Before we get to everything else that happened in WWE this week, a random non-wrestling topic. I'm just coming back from a fantastic lunch at Chick-fil-A. I was wondering, is that one of your fast food restaurants of choice? If so, what is the Chris Vanini Chick-fil-A order?
It's not. I don't go there very often. They did open one up in my town a couple years ago, and the line is out into the street
Oh, really?
like every day for 4 years. So I just haven't been able to get there as much. If I'm going to a fast food place, though, like it's as long as I'm not feeling bad going in, it's probably going to be Taco Bell.
So you can feel bad coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
you know that going in, but you know what you sign up for. You got to plan it a little bit. Make sure you don't have anything important afterward.
that's interesting. So I try my best not to eat fast food, fast casual, really any of that type of stuff. But if I am going to, I mean, Chick-fil-A is the spot. So since I brought it up, even though you gave me no answer whatsoever, I'll tell everyone. I get spicy chicken sandwich, no pickles, because I don't believe that cold vegetables belong on hot sandwiches. I think it's ridiculous. You want to have lettuce and tomato on a turkey club? Go for it. You want it on a burger or chicken? Go after yourself. That's the way the Silver King rolls. Large fry. Sauces have to be Chick-fil-A sauce. Honey roasted barbecue for the fries. Delicious, underrated sauce. And then half sweet, half non-sweet tea. I mean, I'd go full sweet tea, but, we're trying to watch whatever we can. And you're already going to Chick-fil-A, so you might as well reduce the sugar a little bit. Anyway, that is the Silver King's Chick-fil-A order. That's not what you're here to listen to. I thought Vintage was going to have his own and we'd have a whole conversation. Apparently not. What's your Taco Bell order if you're going there?
I just get a bunch of tacos.
Just regular,
yeah, just
hard
regular
shell?
tacos. Just get a bunch of them. Yeah. I mean, everything on the menu is pretty much the same. It's like that old Jim Gaffigan joke. It's tortillas, meat and cheese and
yeah, it's 4
vegetables.
ingredients.
Whatever
in
way
different
you do it.
varieties. Yeah. Have you ever
so
had? Have you ever
I
had
just get a
the
lot of tacos?
potato soft taco there? Have you ever had that?
I have not. I'm normally a corn tortilla guy, but at Taco Bell I'm a soft.
Do me
shell
a favor.
flour
I think it's the
tortilla guy.
cheapest thing on the menu. It is I don't know if it's spicy potato soft taco or just a potato soft taco. But it's just potato, cheese, lettuce, and the taco shell, soft taco shell. Try it. Let me know what you think. It's probably my favorite thing on the entire menu. Only thing that doesn't get me sick after I eat Taco Bell. All right.
Well, especially with the lettuce right now. So
Well,
be
yeah,
careful
especially with
out
that. Well, the lettuce is on there, but yeah, I'm not eating Taco Bell anytime soon, and it's not a frequent establishment the Silver King frequents. Let's put it that way. All right, look, we already hit the main event. We even threw in the last word for you on Tuesday's episode. That means what is remaining in our weekly breakdown of WWE is to go through everything else that happened on Raw and SmackDown and tell you precisely what is good, bad, and ugly.
Hey, yo. Survey says one more for the good guy.
Say hello to the back.
Don't sing it. Bring it.
Let's open with Charlotte Flair against Jade Cargill. Charlotte backstage said she was fighting on behalf of Alexa Bliss so she could fulfill a promise to her daughter to kick Jade's ass. Alexa's daughter. She dared her to come to the ring alone. B-Fab and Michin gassed up Cargill backstage. Jade, of course, never made such a promise.
Oh, we got two big meaty men bumping me tonight.
Mediocre to poor response for both of them at the bell, considering the feud and how Charlotte had been massively over just a few weeks ago. Quiet as church mice. Flair got dumped over the barricade going into the break, which now appears to be a twice an episode spot. I never root for botches, but it was great to see Charlotte's dog shit cartwheel lariat completely botched. Jade was supposed to boot her after she landed. It happened a full second too early. Stop doing that dumb move. It does not add momentum, power. It doesn't look good. You have so much more in your arsenal. And also reduces both because it's an unnatural slow motion. You're leaning backward, not forward. It's just bad. Stop doing the move, please. I'm going to say it until I lose my voice. Cargill did well countering a bunch of offensive attempts, hitting a glacial fireman's carry bomb in a slow spot. Charlotte looked like she was attempting a hurricanrana in the corner, but basically sat herself up onto Jade's shoulders with little assistance for an avalanche Liger bomb false finish. Flair answered with a figure 8 when the baddies predictably distracted the referee and interfered. Alexa returned with her arm brace, holding a larger version of Lily, I believe, behind her back. She showed it off to the crowd and revealed a play glove, hearkening back to Bray Wyatt. The lights turned out, and when they came back on, Tatum Paxley made her main roster debut, splashing the baddies from the top of the ring post. Charlotte and Jade botched whatever the hell they were trying to do in the ring as a counter. Flair then hit Sister Abigail for some reason, following with natural selection off the top rope, also botched by Jade, for the victory. I need to address this in 2 parts. First, the match. Legitimately horrendous. One of the worst efforts of the entire year. The arrow had been seriously pointing up for Jade in 2026, one positive step after another in the ring. That shit crashed hard on Friday night, and she was not the only one to blame. Charlotte looked terrible in the ring. Together, they had negative chemistry. This match can never happen again one-on-one. How the hell do you build a feud for that long and put on that much of a clunker in the main event of a show where, despite all the criticism I have for the booking, the women actually got time across the entire episode? The match was dreadful. If I was grading it, it would be a 1-star D, and it would get an ugly. Now, in terms of the booking, anyone listening, you could probably hear it in my voice already. You know the Silver King is thrilled that Tatum has been called up to the main roster and aligned with 2 top women in Charlotte and Alexa. That is an awesome start for her career, and I hope it results in immediate success and the crowd buying into her right away. Paxley has also said Bliss is her inspiration as a wrestler, so on a personal level, that's even cooler for her. Super happy for Tatum. I need to make that crystal clear because I'm turning the page to say that I was left scratching my head for 2 unrelated reasons. First, why the hell is Paxley the 7th female call-up in 2026 for SmackDown, which just lost an hour of TV and cannot figure out how to get Julia, Blake Monroe, or Jordan Grace, let alone Kiana James, who's also sitting backstage on TV? All of them are doing nothing, and they bring in another woman from NXT. Second, why the hell are we back doing Wyatt stuff after canning the entire faction? Neither Paxley nor Flair, who did Sister Abigail, have any relation to him. That part and Paxley aligning with them needs to be explained. Also, is Flair going to go dark and goth? Because, hell yeah, if she's going to do that. I would love to see her take on an entirely different look for a short while. She's been the same person her entire career. It is so difficult for me to balance my excitement for Tatum individually with booking decisions that feel pulled out of a hat for this division. So the match got an ugly. I'm going to give the booking a good. On its face, it should be a huge positive, but it also means we're stuck with this now trios feud, which we thought was reaching its climax here. With Paxley's debut, it was the best women-focused episode of SmackDown in a long time. Certainly, having it main event and end the show is something that has not happened there, I don't know, in months, it feels like. So Vintage, try to make sense of everything I'm saying here. You don't have as much love for Tatum as I do. What was your perspective of this segment?
Well, I kind of disagree with you on the match. I thought it was perfectly fine until the double botching at the end. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't great. We've seen Jade do better. We know Charlotte can do better. But I thought it was perfectly fine. And the crowd was not into it at the beginning, got into it as it went on, which is a good sign. And up until the end, I was like, all right, this is actually okay. And then the double botch finish and the Paxley was a lot going on there at the end. So I just wanted to say I didn't think the match was
that's fair,
nearly as bad as you. But double botching the finish is tough. As for Tatum Paxley, my reaction was, oh, cool. It makes sense to have a third person. I know we're a little bit. I know the Alexa Bliss relationship stuff. It was a surprise. Didn't see it coming. It wasn't a teasing that somebody's coming and then they show up. Just totally out of the blue. And I love big surprises like that. A jump off the top to the outside is a great first impression. I like that the lights went down. We don't get that very much in WWE, old wrestling trope there. And so I was like, oh, interesting. Now I have questions like you, like Charlotte doing the Sister Abigail didn't really make sense. Mm-hmm. And bringing a different Lily back for the first time in a while was kind of weird. But, it was a main event spot. We got a surprise. Thought the match was okay until the end. So overall, I was like, look, it's something. And we don't often get something, especially with the women. So I'm of 2 minds like you are.
Where do you stand on the contextual concept of adding her to a roster that is already not using a ton of talented women?
I don't understand it whatsoever. Speaking of good Jade matches, Jordan Grace got the best match we'd ever seen out of Jade when the 2 of them went head to head.
At the time, yeah.
And at the time. And Jordan, I think, got hurt or something. I don't know. And just has been gone. She barely even had an opportunity on the main roster before that. There are so many other people who are not around who I'd like to see more of before we're just throwing new people in the mix.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I believe she wrestled weekly in January and February, then got hurt, missed WrestleMania, and then she hasn't been back. I think she's had some main event matches maybe, but that's it. Like, how can you not integrate Jordynne Grace into your company? I mean,
Yeah, like when she debuted at the Royal Rumble a couple years ago, like
it was crazy.
she looked like a star.
Yeah.
And made Ivy Dial look small, and you're like, man, there's opportunity here. And they've given her a couple of chances, and I thought made good work of it, and it just hasn't gotten any more.
Before we move on, let me just expand to note how terrific of a debut this was for Tatum, just from an immediate impact standpoint. She was injected right away into at least the middle tier of this division, aligned with two of the biggest women in the entire company. That's a rub. The leap off the top rope, like a bat out of hell, was one of those moments where if you're not familiar, like maybe vintage, you're wondering, who the hell is this woman? Like, I want to know more about her. Tatum's personality segments forthcoming with Charlotte and Alexa backstage, those are going to be tremendous. As far as not having Paxley on Raw with Lyra Valkyria, as I long expected and projected, it's certainly surprising, but my idea was always for her to join Lyra and Bayley as a trio. And since they split, Valkyria's gimmick has completely changed and fans are into it, even if they haven't really been able to see it on TV. But as such, there was far less reason for them to make that move. Plus, they can go Lyra and Tatum at any time. Both are brand new to the main roster. They're super young. They're going to have long, long careers in front of them. So they have plenty of time to link up. But if you are immediately aligning Paxley with Bliss and Flair, I believe you are telling your audience and also everyone backstage, like, this is an important woman and we need to be booking her as well as we possibly can. And Tatum absolutely deserves it, to the point that we have been, many of us who are her fans and who have been rooting for her since NXT, have been legitimately concerned about what would happen to her when she gets called up to the main roster. Those concerns, I'm not going to say they're gone, but they have been diminished significantly by immediately aligning her with Charlotte and Alexa. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, because I was, back and forth on that entire segment. Nikki Bella got a backstage promo package explaining how she tried hard to support Brie's championship pursuits and revitalize Paige's career while she was sidelined, doing everything she could to rehabilitate and return. Nikki felt Paige took advantage of the situation and then lost when it mattered most, twice, blaming her for not only dropping the titles, but also losing the trios match and getting Brie hurt as a consequence. She promised to make the remainder of Paige's career miserable. Great promo from Nikki. The logic was a bit messy for a babyface, but as a heel, which is what she is, it was perfect. The larger issue is that we went another episode without featuring all the women who need to be on screen, so the focus can remain on people who are not over, and separately, people who are old and ancient. And it's okay that they're part of it, but they shouldn't be taking a spot from a lot of these other women. So I'm going to give this a light good. It was a well-composed segment. I just don't want Nikki and Paige to be on screen every week taking TV time from the likes of Blake Monroe, Jordynne Grace, and people who should be featured.
Yeah, I thought this was a good, just good explanation of all the reasoning for a lot of the stuff. And it probably worked better doing it this way than doing it in an in-ring promo where she's not as strong. So it explained everything, made sense, because if my sister is hurt, that's a great heel reasoning. So yeah, I enjoyed it. What to say about the rest of the roster, I don't know. I still want to see more Paige, even though she's been Paige as Paige, and not Paige as the third wheel to the Bellas as she had been, because she's still not that old.
No, she's young.
But yeah, I would hope to get out of this something that kind of elevates Paige again, and then she can work with the younger people. Imagine Paige and Tatum Paxley. Like, Tatum Paxley looks like a young Paige.
No, in some ways.
That's where it's like, that's where I want to use the older wrestlers with the younger ones. Like the Nikki Stephanie Vaquer, like that was something that helped Stephanie.
It did. So, of course it did. All those names I mentioned, Julia, Blake, Jordan, like they should be losing matches to them. Nikki and Paige should be losing matches to that young crop, helping put them over, feuding with them, teaming with them, losing matches to them ultimately. And coming
the problem because we do like AJ versus Becky and now Nikki versus Paige, and it's like because of the star power when really there's more value in putting them with younger folks.
Exactly. Coming out of SmackDown, my mindset, I'm just kind of setting the stage for the rest of the show. My mindset was at least two of Julia, Blake, and Jordan needed to show up Monday night on Raw. Frankly, just for my mental health at this point. Let's see what happened with the women on Monday, and we'll circle back to that comment. Stephanie Vaquer, as you just mentioned, opened hour 2 of Raw. Michael Cole mispronounced her name 5 times before getting it right. She's only been on the main roster for 15 months, Cole. Breakker said she was happy to be back because she's missed the ring, all of her fans, and seeing Liv Morgan with Judgment Day scared of her. She said she's untouchable, ready to destroy them one by one. Breakker said she has no problem continuing to beat up Raquel Rodriguez. Then she called Roxanne Perez a dead woman, and she said it so matter-of-factly, I just laughed. Breakker then turned to Morgan, saying she knows she's scared because the title belongs to her. Becky Lynch interrupted, saying she similarly wants to beat the ever-living piss out of Liv because she doesn't like her and her title reign, not because she has a score to settle. Bex put over Stephanie for getting over fast, but criticized her for missing so much time, wondering if it's because she fights hurt or her body gives up so her mind does not have to. Lynch's point was that she's happy to let Breakker kick the shit out of Morgan, just not win the title because she doesn't deserve it as much as Bex. Steph said she didn't care what Bex had to say and warned her about getting in her way when Breakker exited. Morgan, impressively in heels, attacked Lynch, who avoided Oblivion and hit Bex Exploder. Breakker was too late to help, which led to a face-to-face between them, Becky contending Stephanie did nothing with her prior title reign. Someone sure as hell kept up their English lessons over the last few months. Credit to Stephanie for continuing to get better and better on the mic. Even if Becky never showed up, Stephanie did more than enough on her own in that opening segment, cutting that promo. The rent was obviously raised with Lynch joining, playing a tweener between Breakker and Morgan, though certainly far more on the babyface side. It does feel like a triple threat is coming, given a number one contendership match would leave one of them with nothing to do. But as we said last week, Lynch-Breakker is a WrestleMania caliber feud. The only criticism really is that Liv attacked on her own after a segment in which Steph literally called out all three women in her faction. Why would she not want the numbers advantage, even if just attacking Becky, knowing Stephanie was there? Despite that, critique on the logic of it all, this was definitely good.
Yeah, definitely good. And it feels fresh, like a women's triple threat between just three very different people at very different stages of their career. And that's just all three parts have a great story. All three different kind of interactions can be very, well done. And I agree with you on Stephanie Breakker's English. Good step up. That's exactly what you should be doing when you're hurt. That was, I think, one reason she didn't get as big as maybe she could have during the title reign, because there were some limitations. So if that's getting better, that's awesome. And this was great.
Now, look, I personally wasn't going to call this out, but people in our Slack channel went wild. Social media too, seeing Breakker walk out to the ring in street clothes. And there is no doubt
Gonna look good, but she's got me saying, "Hey now!"
So you know what that means. The Hey Now Championship is back on the line. Liv Morgan, still the reigning champion, coming out of a hard-fought, controversial, by the way, in our Slack channel, gauntlet on Tuesday. Still the reigning champion, going up against Breakker, like I said, in all-black street clothes. For me, a look lesser than her return look on Raw last week. So because of that, I have Liv easily sailing through here. I would have put Stephanie over 2 weeks ago, but this past week, it was just too basic for what the Hey Now Championship represents, as far as I'm concerned. What about you?
I'm with you. But I said in the last episode too, that pro wrestlers wearing street clothes can often just look better than they do in scantily clad wrestling outfits.
Of course.
And that was the case here. Stephanie looked great, well-deserving challenger. But I do agree that her previous one was not as good. You voted for that one. I didn't. Liv retains.
Just to be clear, our favorite wrestler in street clothes is Drew McIntyre, right? Like, We talk about the women for the Hey Now Championship, but the person who looks best wearing like jeans and regular clothes coming out there compared to their ring gear is Drew McIntyre, who looks like an absolute badass. But nevertheless, it has been determined. Still Hey Now champion Liv Morgan. Sol Ruca backstage said she's sick of being stuck in the Judgment Day vortex. She's ready to settle a score, clear her plate, and go after the Intercontinental Championship. Ruca was ready to have a mystery partner, and she said that person also wanted revenge against the faction. Danhausen tried to insert himself into that role. She declined. Io Sky ultimately was the mystery partner, which was great because she's beloved, but that was hardly a legitimate surprise of any kind, and it remained immensely confusing that no one from SmackDown was able to move over to Raw. But we got Sol and Io against Judgment Day. Fun sequences early and often here. Ruca and Rodriguez had a rough X Factor sequence. Sky caught Rodriguez's boot, using it to knock Perez out before hitting a bullet train attack into the ring post on the apron. Io took Raquel down with a tornado DDT before Sol took Roxanne's head off with a running knee, only to get dumped to the floor with a Hurricanrana. Raquel took Io down with an inverted vertical suplex and rope-assisted suplex before Roxy hit a double jump springboard moonsault. It really picked up from there with some strong sequences before the match ultimately ended with Ruka fully flipping out of Pop Rocks, landing a super kick and Soul Snatcher to get the win. Sol over Roxanne was probably the correct result out of the 8 possibilities, like if she's going to be going back after the title. However, I would have saved that Pop Rocks counter for a much bigger match. Not a non-title TV bout in August. What a waste. All 4 of them worked well. They got a solid amount of time. The match time issue with the women that we had for multiple weeks in a row largely went away this week, and I think last week as well. So, like, thumbs up, I guess, for WWE not pushing your women even further down the card than you had been previously. But despite that, there was nothing at all wrong with this. It's getting a good. I was still somehow left wanting a bit more. Perhaps it was the repetitiveness of everything on Raw being about Judgment Day and seeing these 4 wrestling in different combinations so frequently. It's clearly a trend on this episode, my dissatisfaction with WWE calling up so many women and not using any of them. But in terms of a segment and match and like, did it work for all 4 of the women? Yeah, all of them came out of this looking better. The match was quality and it was entertaining television.
Agree on all points. Yes, that Pop Rocks into the hands, into the flip, into the Soul Snatcher. Great finish. Great job by everybody involved. I thought Soul's like kind of basic backstage promo before that was decent too. Mm-hmm. Like they're just kind of get her into the flow of just kind of doing that main roster stuff. So not much more to say other than glad they got the opportunity and they did a good job with it.
Lyra Valkyria gave a sarcastic clap to Sol and Io celebrating backstage. Valkyria went after Ruka for believing she can slide right back into contention for her Intercontinental title, stepping over anyone else who may be waiting when she's not accomplished anything, at least not much, since joining WWE. Sol asked what Lyra has done, so Valkyria pointed to her dismantling of Bayley and promised that Sol will regret getting in her way if she tries to go after the title first. It took too long to get Lyra back on the main broadcast, but this steady progression of her looking more unhinged and unwashed with each passing week is doing well, setting up her still fresh character. She's kind of captivating on screen with this look. It's so different from everyone else in WWE. Valkyria should be able to destroy Ruka and move into a number 1 contendership, hopefully thwarted by Bayley continuing their feud. But either way,
thank you
for putting Lyra back on TV after 2 completely wasted weeks. This segment was good.
Good, solid character adjustment. Just basic stuff. Like, there's not much more to really say other than they did a good job with that. We know Lyra's talented. Bayley's just kind of not around now because she got, taken out by Lyra. So I'm kind of curious what the plan is here after it's been a couple of weeks, but it was on TV. That's a step forward. So good.
Going back to what I was saying earlier, just to kind of wrap up this women's division conversation, let's take a quick stock look at some of the women who have been called up to the WWE main roster recently. Okay, and there's some that are being used. Fatal Influence is a really good example. Sol Ruka as well. But these are folks on SmackDown. Julia, barely featured, given a big moment, taken off TV, squashed by Lash Legend. Lash, largely irrelevant, still incredibly green, but she is being given regular opportunities. Kiana, injured immediately after getting called up, came back, partnered with Julia, something no one wanted, then lost to her, completely taken off TV. Jordan, heavily featured January and February. She's had 1 television match since then. Blake called up with a SmackDown vignette on April 24th after WrestleMania. 0 matches or segments in front of the crowd in 110 days on the main roster. And you know what? The SmackDown creative team may not give a damn, but I care too much.
You don't give a damn. And my problem is I care too much.
I mean, just listen to that breakdown, Vintage. That is unacceptable roster management.
Yeah, and we've seen ever since, it's been a month and a half now since they moved from a 3-hour show to a 2-hour show on SmackDown particularly, and they still don't seem to know quite how to do that, and they've just added more people to that roster. So either go back to 3 hours, stop calling so many people up, or I don't know, you make if they're making more cuts or something. I don't really know. So strange position it's all in.
Well, they're not going back to 3 hours until after football season.
Right.
And really, for me, I mentioned this yesterday, I think, it's roster management. You got to shift some of these women over to Raw. Like, you're just killing them on SmackDown. They're not doing shit. Raw needs people. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's flip back over to the men. Penta fought Laredo Kid in the Luchador #1 contendership tournament first round action. Penta and Laredo each got brief promos, which was more important for the latter than the former, though I wish you all got a little bit more about Laredo's background. Commentary helped fill in some gaps during the match. Penta being focused on Roman Reigns was telling. Laredo hit a tremendous moonsault and 2 twisting sentons early to basically no reaction, and it was largely slow and unexciting until he landed a spike poison Rana and 450 after the break. Penta answered with a backstabber, tope con hero, and Penta driver for a false finish. Laredo responded with the driver of his own, but Penta avoided a Phoenix Splash and hit Mexican Destroyer to win in under 11 minutes. Disappointing start to the tournament for those of us who hope to see some top-tier wrestling from an absolutely stacked field of competitors. They worked well, but this felt, as I was watching it, like they were going 50% of what they can actually do speed and move-wise, and I'm not sure opening a lucha tournament in Norfolk, Virginia, of all places, was the right move. Penta was the obvious winner, but not allowing these guys to show out and giving them limited time was a contextual bad. There's no world in which Penta and Laredo in 11 minutes should be wrestling a B-level match. Why not help the product flash to get more people watching AAA? Hopefully these other wrestlers are featured better in the subsequent matches. Again, there was nothing wrong with the segment, so I want you to understand. Most weeks, a match on TV, nothing special happening. This would get a good. But because of the type of tournament and because of the missed opportunity, that is why I'm going contextual bad.
I'll go like good. I think I liked it a bit more than you did. Although, again, I don't watch AAA every week, so I don't have as much of a bar maybe to compare it to. But which if that's the point of the tournament, it should be like you said.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it for what it was like good. Like there was nothing I was like mad about or didn't like. But yes, I agree. It should have been more.
You're right in saying there was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't at all up to what I expected and what I believe they were telling us based on booking the tournament. Rey Mysterio backstage called the prior match a
banger,
promising Roman will have his hands full. Dragon Lee interrupted the interview, thanking Rey for the opportunity and promising to give it his all. Then Dominik Mysterio interrupted, taking offense to being completely excluded from the tournament as the AAA Mega Champion. Rey said he was not about to get another handout, but when Dom disrespected his father, Dragon stood up for him and challenged one-on-one. So we had Dragon against Dominik. Great action here, both going into and coming out of the break. Dragon hit a tope con hero, with Dom hitting a 619 variation, sliding along the canvas in the ringside area. He caught Dragon with a Michinoku driver, but Lee answered with a hanging double stomp. Dom came back with a traditional 619, but Dragon got knees up on the frog splash and hit Destino Operation Dragon for the squeaky clean 1-2-3. Now, Silver King does not get into conspiracy theories, especially when it comes to booking decisions for this regime now that Vince McMahon is gone. But this felt like WWE checking Dom a bit for leaking over the weekend that he was dissatisfied with his creative and wanted to be booked more like the AAA version of his character on the main roster in WWE. He's not wrong for holding that opinion. I certainly feel the exact same way. But that's just not how you go about something like that in 2026. The backstage segment with Rey, Dragon, and Dom was solid. The bell-to-bell work hit too. But with Dragon in the Luchador tournament and Dom, the AAA Mega Champion, coming off the promo of his career on that brand this past Saturday, by the way, neither of these guys should have been losing a match clean. It surprised me that JD McDonough was not around, or Dom did not somehow cheat to win, which would have cleared Dragon to take the L yet not get diminished in the tournament. Conversely, if Dragon is being booked to win the entire tournament, which I don't believe he is, getting a bonus win over Dom helps his resume. That's why I believe this was creative checking him a bit. The segments were good. Dom losing was bad. Both can be true simultaneously.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you on that. I was like, in my heart, this is a bad because Dominik shouldn't be losing this match. So like, I'm going to do that. But if, that contextual stuff is a factor in it, okay. But Dom, the last few months, has just done nothing on the main roster. and it's been frustrating because he is a champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wondering
he's
for
a
a while.
world.
Like,
Sorry, let me interrupt you. He's a world champion.
Yeah,
that is a world
So
championship he's holding.
I've been wondering, like, when is Dom going to take that step up to just being kind of the slimy heel and to start taking him a little bit more seriously? And we just haven't. And losing to Dragon League just continues that.
I mean, the guy went over John Cena in the final PLE of his entire career at Survivor Series. And then he lost the Intercontinental title after to Penta, which no one disagreed with because we all wanted Penta to get that opportunity, and he had a great reign with it. So that was totally fine. But to your point, he's still the AAA Mega Champion. He's a world champion on that brand, and he's doing incredible work down there, even though he's not showing up that much. This is almost exactly like, you know what? Let me pause and kind of circle back to that in a second. I just mentioned as an aside that Dom cut the promo of his career on Saturday. To be clear, I am not exaggerating at all. It was the best.
I have not seen this.
No, you're going to. I'm going to send it to you. It was the best promo and segment of his entire career on the latest AAA show. I would play it here and now on the show, but it's in Spanish, so most of you probably need the subtitles that are on the video. So we'll cover that in its entirety on Thursday's episode, where we'll talk AAA, NXT, and AEW. But it was a type of sit-down interview that WWE should be doing on the main roster. And Dom is 1,000% correct. He is presented as a legitimate, believable, logical heel on AAA and a relative joke right now on the main roster. It's a disparity similar to what happened with El Grande Americano in the build to Mask versus Mask. And coming out of the Danhausen feud, if this continues, it's super tough to understand, especially since he is literally main eventing Triplemania in a massive match against Americano. So how are you going to have a main event that show on a Sunday and then turn around 24 hours later on Monday Night Raw and have him be a joke in the same city, in the same building? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I don't watch AAA that much. Dom being the champion and looking like a joke on the main roster makes me less interested in watching AAA.
Right.
Which is the complete opposite of this whole tournament and everything they're trying to do.
Just like the promotion for the El Grande Americano matches, they were horrible on Raw. That gave us no reason to want to turn into AAA. Meanwhile, if they had done those properly or aired some promos or just given us a video package telling us what was happening on that brand, you might have been a regular main roster WWE viewer and said, you know what? I kind of want to see that match. Instead, they did nothing to promote it. It didn't make any sense. So immediately after the bell of that match with Dom and Dragon, Big Cass booted Dragon's head off with his Timbs before hitting his East River Crossing finisher. Javon Evans tried to get even from last week, and while he landed some shots on Cass, he got taken out of the air with a lariat before eating another big boot. Repetitive, no further progress on Cass's character. Bad,
but for some reason, Cass looked just better than I noticed the first time around. Like, dude is absolutely jacked.
Oh, he's an 8-pack. It's incredible. Yeah.
And yeah, in street clothes and all that stuff. Again, I guess I didn't notice it the first time, but that stuck out. But yes, other than that, this was nothing. Javon Evans coming out to just get attacked was whatever.
Yeah, laid out. Chad Gable dapped up Penta and Ray backstage, the former two putting each other over for their recent success. Gable then put over Mysterio for doing an incredible job as AAA general manager, saying it would be his honor to defend the Intercontinental title against the greatest luchador of all time. Ray accepted the challenge with honor. I would prefer a storyline with someone like getting an opportunity to go after Chad, meaning like earning it through a number one contendership or winning a bunch of matches. But with so much else happening over the last couple of weeks, I'm okay with this booking and giving it a like good as Gable continues filling out his luchador punch card since winning the title. It is seriously ironic, though, that deadbeat dad Ray is taking a championship match handout on the same show his son rightfully pointed out he was not being given an opportunity to even compete for a title shot.
This isn't a bad, but I just, again, don't understand this. You're, again, putting Chad Gable up against a babyface and an even bigger babyface who people are going to like more than him. And Gable's, like, promo is just so incredibly corny just because it has to be. So, like, this isn't going to help him, I don't think, unless you let them put on, like, a 15-minute banger of a match, which I don't think they're going to do. So, like, when are we going to get Chad Gable in a story where we're rooting for him to overcome some bad guy? If he's just the nice guy doing nice things to other nice people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not interesting.
Right. They need to make him interesting. And right now, they're not. They didn't really do it in the title win, but they still got a great reaction. And now they're not capitalizing on it, which is just incredibly frustrating. The Vision were interviewed backstage with Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree doing PDA. Logan Paul standing in the middle without his arm brace. And Bron Breakker standing there looking angry, staring off into the distance. Logan shut on Alpha Academy. Maxine called Austin her bad boy. And Theory promised to kick Akira Tozawa's ass. Once they all left, Breakker asked Byron Saxton whether he agreed that Obafemi was the future of WWE. Byron acknowledged as much, leaving Braun dissatisfied, saying he sounded like Paul Heyman. This must have been taped earlier because there was a continuity error when Paul was walking to the ring seconds later wearing his arm brace. Also, Maxine Dupree comes out looking like she's at a WWE in 2000, like, around the millennium, with this silver skirt that was so short it didn't even cover half of her ass, and it was definitely her best look since turning heel and joining the Vision. So Maxine Dupree
Gonna look good, but she's got me saying, hey now!
and you know what that means. The Hey Now Championship somehow is back on the line this week. Liv Morgan defending against this brand new Vision-esque look for Maxine Dupree. Vintage, what were your thoughts on this contender that Dupree put out on television Monday night?
My thought was, is that Stacy Keibler or something like that? That's what that looked like.
It was Keibler
second
inspired
thought
for sure. Yeah.
Yes. My second thought was, like, she got married recently, and I always wonder how comfortable everybody is with stuff like that. Like Dom is married too, and was doing stuff with Rhea and Liv. Blake Monroe said in a video I saw recently that she told people not to date wrestlers, although she had dated wrestlers. So the whole thing, just like, if you're Maxine's husband, what are you thinking of the Austin Theory stuff? I don't know, wrestling is weird. This is always like that. And sometimes it, turns into real life. But as it relates to what Maxine was wearing here, along with the incredible outfit, the double buns of the hair, that's every spot for me. I've got winning the title here.
So you're saying it because it's the Princess Leia thing?
No, that's like on the side. I mean like when they're more higher up. It's just
you like that? The little like antenna on the top of the head?
Yeah. The when there's two of them on the sides. Like not pigtails, but like up.
I guess it's kind of like the Chun-Li gimmick from Street Fighter. Look, as far as I'm concerned, Maxine was a legitimate contender. Like, when she popped on screen, you're sitting there saying very clearly,
Gonna look good, but she's got me saying, hey now!
At the same time, was this championship level to dethrone Liv Morgan, who had already taken down Andrea and the Stephanie Vaquer return look from 2 weeks ago?
No!
Therefore, still, Hey Now champion, unscathed after 5 to 7 competitors this week, somehow, Liv Morgan. Tozawa fought Theory, a rolling lariat countered Tozawa early. Breakker was unimpressed. Something happened during the break, but for some reason, my VPN did not stay with the match despite doing so earlier. Tozawa gained momentum after a Shining Wizard and Senton crowd firmly behind him, loud. But Theory got pissed off, grabbed Tozawa, and hit the off switch, a close-range forearm finisher for the win. Dupree handed him a chair to create maximum pressure, but Adam Pearce ran down and stole it away as Breakker hopped into the ring ready to spear the life out of Tozawa. Instead, Femi effectively saved by making his entrance, but as soon as they were about to go face-to-face, Pearce and the officials quickly ran in to separate them. Lots of different stuff jammed together here. Let's go in order. It was nice to see Vision have some variety to their personalities and stations backstage. It's what the faction has long missed, though how long they'll even be a faction is up in the air, considering what's going on with Braun. He did well selling that he was checked out and focused on his more selfish pursuits, let's say. Still shell-shocked from last week with Femi. The match was solid. Theory's new finisher is trash. All those running forearms, I don't care who you are. Theory, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Karrion Kross, they all suck. Theory is so talented, so athletic, fighting a guy who can make any finisher look impressive. I get that this showed aggression and hatred, but it's boring as sin. And the last thing Theory needs is to be more boring and generic as a heel when he's a natural babyface stuck in this role. He and Dupree look great together, but it's not hitting that well with the fans. Not yet, at least. The intensity was there with Oba and Braun, but it was entirely surface level, only a tease for the second straight week. It's sensible and valuable as a feud, but there's nothing to evaluate beyond that. They're staring at each other. What I do like a lot is how Breakker's character has shifted to thoughtful and aggressive from rabid barking dog. Hopefully his presentation will match. Overall, 3 segments combined, I am going like good.
I'm giving this a good. Also, Theory got his intro music for this, which is great. We don't hear it enough.
Yeah.
I like the song. But like, they're the tag team champions. And they were doing a 6-man at SummerSlam. And we're doing singles stuff here. And it's like, why are they the tag team champs? They don't need it. They're not doing as much with it. The only tag team they're kind of working with is freaking Tozawa and Otis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we cared about having a tag team division, we could put the belts on someone else and actually do something with it.
They don't.
Now we got
they don't care about it.
Now we got Oba and Braun here. That's not a tag team thing. So it's just like that part of it's just weird and missed opportunity. Oba coming out got me fired up in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, I didn't think we were going to get this quickly. And that it was Oba basically responding things said about him indirectly, like not waiting for Braun to come get him backstage or something. He's coming to the fight that Braun is like sort of putting out there. And that's awesome for a babyface. So don't know where that's going to go, but they have turned that into something really interesting really quickly. My only nitpick is, are we doing too many securities getting in front of people? Feels like it's happening like every other show at this point. It's happening a lot. But other than that, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, that's true. Although on occasion they haven't been used. Like they come out as a precaution, but aren't ultimately getting involved. Like I think Cody and Randy, they didn't get involved. Punk and KO, they didn't until the very end of the segment where they started shoving each other. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Breakker approached Heyman backstage, the latter having a shit-eating grin on his face coming out of that segment. They were sarcastic with one another before Braun asked whether Paul believes Oba is the future of WWE. Heyman said he loves Breakker personally and professionally, and he respects Femi considering he took down Brock Lesnar exactly as is promised. Breakker repeated his question, demanding a real answer. Heyman responded by telling Braun it's clear he is starting to think Oba is the future of WWE, and if Breakker wants him to stop respecting Femi, then he needs to prove why he does not deserve that respect. Excellent segment. Creative has done well, allowing us as the audience to observe Breakker's emotional path and like see the situation from his perspective, even as stuff is unfolding and happening around him. You can see the focus and the intensity, and everyone's had that feeling in the pit of their stomach in their lives that something is happening around them that they can't control, but they don't like it and they're powerless to stop it. One of the best segments of the entire night, Breakker's best segment in months. Easy good.
Yeah, it's an example of how you don't need a title for every feud or someone to attack somebody. It's literally just, where is my spot? I'm losing my spot. I'm losing my momentum because someone else is taking it and I'm mad at them. That is just a basic human feeling that everybody can understand and relate to from time to time. Like that's what makes good wrestling stories. And considering we're coming off of the Unreal season where they were talking about Braun being the future of the company and don't have him win the Rumble or this or that, like that leads into this storyline right here. So if that was done on purpose, well done.
Indeed. United States Championship, Baron Corbin defending against Trick Williams. Trick cut a basic promo in gorilla position, saying he'd beat him for the title, for Lil Yachty, and for the culture. Corbin made a championship entrance on a motorcycle to relative crickets. For some reason, he still had the white fur-covered title. Williams immediately splashed him into the timekeeper's area, entering the first break, following a commercial-free first hour. Of course, it was during a match, the commercial break. No way they could have planned it as a natural break or during the entrances or something like that. Trick slap, trick kick, and a fireman's carry driver. The latter, a really nice addition to Williams' arsenal, followed. Corbin countered Trick shot with deep six and appropriately won a strike exchange before grabbing the belt in clear view of the referee for no good reason. Williams avoided end of days and landed Trick shot, but Corbin grabbed the bottom rope. When the referee stopped Trick from going outside, he got shoved and turned around briefly, which gave Corbin an opening for another belt shot and title retention. I liked Williams' promo at the top of the segment. Would have been nice to have an explanation about Boat's absence here. This was better than their SummerSlam match, which is an indictment on how that was booked, considering This was perfectly solid, but not spectacular in any way. There was no way the title was changing hands, and for that reason, it probably would have made more sense for this week to be set up for a rematch next week, since that is not granted automatically anymore. However, a later segment explained why that did not happen. Trick did work better here. Corbin is getting heel reactions once the bell rings. They're just not as strong as they should be, considering his foil. I'm going to go with a light good, though.
Yeah, light good. I mean, Corbin said after winning the title, he was going to pluck all the feathers out of it, and then he just didn't. So that's just a weird oversight there. But this is fine. I think Trick losing twice, like really knocking him down a peg now, has no claim to a championship. I know it was a cheating, whatever, but don't really have a claim anymore. I'm kind of interested, at least. Like we're moving on, and so we'll see. I still miss Corbin's old intro theme, though. This one is just nothing.
Corbin backstage was asked about upsetting Williams twice in a week. He took offense to that leading question.
Where'd you study that question? Hey? You got a journalism for that? You gotta be joking me. Cause out there, that was the real joke.
Rough night for Kathy Kelly with her 2 questions, actually. But Corbin said he's no underdog. Everyone who doubted him should feel stupid. Trick will never hold the title again, and there's no one in the locker room who can take it from him. Carmelo Hayes was watching from behind the camera, so he quickly took off his glasses, attacked Corbin into a garage door, and announced that Aldis gave him a title match next week in his hometown of Boston. The pop for Hayes, while I would not call it thunderous, was extremely loud, and the fans continue to prove they are behind this guy whenever WWE decides to book him like they actually give a shit about Melo being a part of this product regularly. Unfortunately, this does appear to set up as a Trick interference or a third belt shot victory for Corbin, but let's not be unfairly pessimistic, even if it feels utterly predictable. I'm glad Melo not only got the segment, but showed some balls going at a bigger guy who wronged him, and I loved the way the crowd reacted. Good.
Agree on all points. Good.
Damian Priest backstage was furious at the Tongans jumping them last week after they had already defeated them for the tag team titles and retained them in a prior match. The War Raiders interrupted them equally mad, saying they've been chasing the title holders down for weeks and they will be double champions, but they also need to take care of the Tongans. R-Truth stormed in, taking probably his most serious approach since he was Ron Killings, getting right in the Raiders' face, sick of their shit talk, willing to defend the titles against both teams next week. The Raiders were pleased to hear that, but Priest was pissed that only one set of straps were going to be on the line. I appreciated the intensity and the overall attempt to do something with the division. I hated that all 4 guys called the Tongans the MFTs when that group imploded. Could no one communicate a different term for them, like Tongans or Haku's Sons or just anything else? No huge problem here. I'm glad this is all being addressed immediately and not dragged out. For that reason, somewhat reluctantly, I'm going to go light good.
Well, Haku called them the MFTs, didn't he?
No, he said they're the mother effing Tongans.
Yeah, but isn't that what MFT stood for?
It stood for My Family Tree, technically, even though we all thought it stood for mother effing Tongans.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, maybe it's the name, maybe it's not. I like the beginning of this. Priest is always so much better when he's serious and he's angry and he's intense. This was a big step up from what they'd done a couple of previous weeks, so not much else to it, but good. Even though I don't like a tag team champion fighting for another tag team championship belt.
Received a message last week suggesting Silver King was inconsistent for enjoying the addition of Haku alongside the Tongans, yet criticizing the tag team match interruption. I'm not sure I understand the problem with that take. I'm interested in that group more than I would have been otherwise, yet the subsequent segment, given the aforementioned circumstances of it, largely being a bait and switch match, upset me. I think that's pretty clear.
You were also upset that like the age of the people involved.
Oh, I'm getting back to that. Oh, we're covering that again. Show's not done yet. So let's put a pin in that statement. We're coming back to the age thing. Shinsuke Nakamura somehow reappeared on TV in a tape promo package addressing the Tongans, saying they may have a new leader, but they're still past enemies. Nakamura said they don't need to remember who they are, but that Nakamura is the king of strong style and the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. I have not heard that nickname in forever, man. Shin declared he was back, and this time he will not be alone because he's going to start a war. This was clearly a tease, I assume, for at least the main roster debut of Naraku, who was evil in New Japan, or perhaps Hiromu Takahashi, if not both of them joining Shin as a trio. Nakamura did seem to say he and I, which would indicate 2 people total, not a group, but you never know. Either way, this could explain why Shinsuke was off TV for his latest run and why Naraku was booked quickly as a pushover in NXT. As much as I love Shinsuke, It was tough to feel optimistic coming out of this because his booking over the last few years has been so erratic. So this is a hopeful but hesitant good.
Oh, it's a definitely good. This is the most interesting he's been in forever. And just the mystery of someone's coming, and I don't know who. And I like not knowing that. So you just listed off a couple of people. I haven't followed them, but I'm interested in this. So I thought this was definitely good.
So going back to the age conversation, I mentioned last week, but holy shit, this tag team division is ancient. Again, Fraxium, average age 28, is nowhere to be found on Friday night. Yet WWE is adding 46-year-old Nakamura and 39-year-old Naraku, let's assume, to 43-year-old Priest, 54-year-old Truth, the 42-year-old Raiders, 43-year-old Tama Tonga, and 39-year-old Tala, who is somehow the youngest of these 8 guys. I'm at an absolute loss. How can anyone put this division on paper and with a straight face say this is where tag team wrestling should be in 2026, considering the immense amount of talent at WWE's disposal? And where the F is Fraxium, Vintage?
Fraxium being in it or not is not fixing the problems. Like,
it's helping.
If this is an attempt to restart a tag team division, that's better than the past all year when there just isn't a tag team division, essentially. So, like, that's better than nothing. And should Fraxium be involved? Yes, sure. But that's not the larger problem. Is just doing nothing with tag team wrestling, which was one of my New Year's resolutions across both companies, which is bring back tag team wrestling. And WWE has gone in the complete opposite direction, having 2 tag team championships that mean literally nothing.
And no division.
So if this is an attempt to try to build that out a bit, I would at least applaud the effort, even if it's, even if they blew a lot of opportunities.
Yeah,
previously.
I guess what was the phrase? A for effort. I guess I'd give them a B for effort. Like, they're putting teams, they're putting teams together and creating a division after completely ruining it. But the one team that actually has upside and youth is the one team not being featured. And I don't know about you, I'm not excited to see a bunch of 45-year-olds lumbering around the ring for tag team titles. That's not exciting. Tag team wrestling.
But is it better than just not having it?
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't know that it is. That's what I'm saying. So they're going to have to figure this out. It's super frustrating what's happening. And lastly, I don't know if you watched Raw on VPN or not, but Joe Hendry had an awful commercial break segment on Raw where he sang about how WWE should give him every title to solve world peace. He announced an album is coming out in October. Who exactly is wanting that? I have no idea. The guy is barely on TV. When he is on TV, he's not allowed to work his gimmick. He loses matches. He had one song get over. That ended fast. I'm not grading it. It was just a segment during the break, but the booking of Hendry has been horrendous. This segment was no better. I credit WWE because I actually would have preferred watching a commercial break over this segment, and that's the first time that's ever happened.
They did put this on YouTube, actually, so I did see it.
Amazing.
Of all things to do. But, like, look, giving the guy the guitar gimmick is like the ceiling is the floor for all of that stuff. Like, it'll work for 6 months, and then that's it.
Not even.
Elias, everybody, like Rick Boogs, like, it can't go anywhere. It's not even the gimmick that Joe Hendry got over. Like, that's just the weirdest part of all of it. They're just like, oh, here's a guy who can sing. Let's just have him do guitar or whatever. Give me all the belts. What's it even mean? Like, I will say, the crowd was like clapping and waving their arms and lighting fireflies and whatnot. So, like, it's not like the crowd booed the crap out of this compared to the Danhausen one. But it's a waste of time.
But, like, it was conceptually terrible. And then beyond it being conceptually terrible, it's a horrible use of his character, which they're not even utilizing properly to the point that you're making, because he got over with say his name and he appears and showing up in random spots and beating people up and doing all that. And the sing-song aspect was definitely a part, but he used it to shit-talk opponents while he was in feuds with them. Just not come out and randomly sing songs for Danhausen and then for an album. Like, I don't get how this guy is getting TV time or even commercial break time right now. And that is not anything against Hendry. It is against his booking by WWE. So
it's Vince McMahon booking. It's pure Vince booking. It's shocking to see.
It really is. All right. That wraps up this bonus WWE edition of the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. Again, if you made it through this episode and you somehow missed our first, let's call it primary WWE episode from earlier this week, make sure you listen to it. It is in our podcast feed. We will be back on Thursday talking AAA NXT and AEW. And then, of course, next week on Tuesday, we'll be back with your normal, complete WWE edition of the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. On the way out, allow the Silver King to remind you here at Getting Over.
It's all about the five.
So head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the show. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. You get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show. On YouTube, you can listen to the show. You can watch full-length video interviews. Hit the link on our profile. You can join our free Slack channel. Subscribe to buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Subscribe to the podcast. Do myriad other things. Make sure you follow us on social media at Getting Overcast. All right, that is wrapping it up for today. On behalf of Vintage Chris Vanini, this is the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, signing off and leaving you with just 3 final words. Bye for now.